The Vextar sensor officer stared at his display in disbelief. Sir, we have multiple contacts. Hundreds of them. They just appeared at the edge of the system. Fleet Commander Grathel looked at the tactical screen. 847 red dots appeared like a constellation of death. Identification? They're all human ships, sir. Silence filled the command center. Then someone laughed. It was a nervous, uncertain sound. Impossible, Grathel said. Humans don't have that many warships. This must be an error. No error, sir. The signatures are confirmed. 847 Earth vessels. They're forming attack formations. Lord Thexar stormed into the command center. What is happening? The humans have brought their fleet, my lord. All of it by the looks of things. Then we will destroy them. Thexar smiled his cold smile. Alert all defensive fleets. Show these primitives what real military power looks like. 3 Vextar fleets moved to intercept. 300 ships total. They had crushed rebellions across 100 worlds. They had never lost a major battle. Humans were new to space, barely competent with their stolen alien technology. This would be a massacre. Just not the one they expected. On the Indomitable, Admiral Dohyun watched the Vextar fleets approaching. Broadcast our message. Let the galaxy hear it. His recorded speech went out on all frequencies. Every species with a receiver would hear Earth's declaration. All ships, Dohyun said calmly. You have your targets. Fire at will. The human fleet opened up with everything they had. The dreadnoughts fired their main weapons. Railguns accelerating projectiles to near light speed. The impact was devastating. Vextar shields designed to stop energy weapons did nothing against solid metal moving at relativistic speeds. The first Vextar ship exploded in silence. Then another. Then 10 more. What are those weapons? Grathel screamed at his tactical officer. Their shields are useless. Unknown technology, sir. Our shields can't stop solid projectiles at that velocity. The human cruisers launched missiles, hundreds of them, each with fusion warheads. They swarmed the Vextar fleet like angry insects. Point defense systems shot down many, but not all. Explosions bloomed across the darkness like deadly flowers. Human fighters weaved through the chaos, their pilots pushing beyond normal safety limits. They knew what this mission meant. They knew who they were fighting for. First Fleet is at 60% strength, the Vextar tactical officer reported. Second Fleet engaging. Third Fleet moving to support. But the Second Fleet fared no better. Human ships fought with a precision born from centuries of humans fighting humans. They knew war. They had perfected it. A Vextar destroyer fired on a human cruiser, tearing through its shields and hull. The cruiser exploded, taking its crew with it. But 3 human ships immediately focused fire on the destroyer, reducing it to scrap. For every human ship lost, 5 Vextar ships died. Admiral Dohyun watched the battle with cold efficiency. Focus fire on the command ships. Take out their coordination. The dreadnoughts targeted the Vextar flagships. One by one, the command vessels died. Without coordination, the Vextar fleets began to falter. Sir, First Fleet is destroyed, reported the tactical officer on the Indomitable. Second Fleet is retreating. Third Fleet is trying to regroup. Don't let them regroup. Press the attack. Break through to the planet. In the detention facility on Vextar Prime, alarms wailed. Jiho sat up in his cell, pain forgotten. He could hear explosions in the distance, feel the building shake. Something was happening. Drex ran past his cell, panic on his face. Guards rushed through the corridors. The lights flickered. Lord Thexar's voice came over the facility speakers. All personnel, battle stations. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. Jiho pressed against the door of his cell. Through the small window, he could see chaos. Guards running, prisoners screaming, smoke filling the corridors. He smiled. They came. Earth actually came. Above the planet, the human fleet shattered the last Vextar defensive fleet. 300 alien ships destroyed in less than an hour. The way to the planet was clear. Planetary shields are still active, the tactical officer reported. We can't get through to drop the Marines. Then we make a hole. Dohyun turned to his weapons officer. Concentrate all dreadnought fire on one section of the shield. Pour everything we have into that spot. 12 dreadnoughts aligned their weapons. Railguns, laser batteries, plasma cannons, all firing at a single point on the planetary shield. The energy buildup was visible from space, a growing bright spot like a second sun. The shield held. Then it flickered. Then it failed. Breach detected, the tactical officer shouted. Opening in the northern hemisphere. All marine transports go now. Do-hyun ordered. 50,000 Marines launched in drop pods. They fell toward the planet like metal rain, burning through the atmosphere. Anti-aircraft fire filled the sky, but the pods were small and fast. Most made it through. Commander Hana Kim's pod hit the ground hard, slamming her against the restraints. The door blew open, and she rolled out with her rifle ready. Around her, thousands of other pods were landing, Marines pouring out in waves. All units form up, she commanded over the radio. Alpha teams, secure the perimeter. Bravo teams, with me. We're going for the detention facility. Vextar ground forces rushed to meet them. The aliens were larger, stronger, covered in natural armor. But humans had something the Vextar did not. Absolute determination. The battle was brutal. Vextar soldiers fought well, but Marines fought like demons. Every human on that battlefield knew why they were there. For Jiho, for Taemin, for every human who ever ventured into the galaxy trusting Earth to protect them. Hana led her team through the city streets. Buildings burned around them. Vextar civilians ran in panic. She felt a moment of guilt, but pushed it away. They started this. They took Jiho. The detention facility loomed ahead, a massive structure of metal and concrete. Automated defenses opened fire, cutting down 3 Marines before they could take cover. Bring up the heavy weapons, Hana ordered. A Marine with a rocket launcher stepped forward. The missile streaked across the distance and exploded against the facility's main door. The blast tore a hole in the structure. Move, move, move! They poured into the facility. Vextar guards met them with weapons fire. The corridors became a war zone. Hana shot her way forward, her team covering her advance. Find Captain Kim, she shouted. Search every cell. A guard raised his weapon at her. She was faster. He fell. Through the smoke and chaos, she saw cell doors. Prisoners cowered inside, terrified by the violence. Then she saw him. Jiho sat against the wall of his cell, bruised and bloody but alive. His eyes widened when he saw her. Hana. She blasted the lock off his door and pulled it open. Sorry we're late, big brother. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Then Jiho laughed, actually laughed despite everything. Right on time, I'd say. She helped him to his feet. He winced but stayed standing. Can you walk? I can run if I have to. He looked at the Marines around them, at his sister in her combat armor. You brought a lot of friends. We brought everyone. She handed him a pistol. Come on, let's go home. They fought their way out of the facility. Above them, the orbital battle continued. Human ships hunted down the last Vextar defenders. The planet's surface was scarred with battle. At the extraction point, transport ships landed. Marines loaded wounded onto the vessels. Hana pushed Jiho toward one of them. Get him out of here, she ordered. What about you? Jiho asked. I'm staying until every Marine is accounted for. She squeezed his shoulder. Go. Tell them we're bringing everyone home. As his transport lifted off, Jiho looked down at the burning planet below. The Vextar had taken him, beaten him, tried to break him, and in response, Earth had come with fire and fury. He thought of Lord Thexar's words. Earth will do nothing. The ambassador had been wrong. Humanity had done everything. On the indomitable Admiral Do-hyun received the report. Captain Kim recovered. All Marine teams extracting. Total casualties. 4,200 dead, 8,000 wounded. Numbers. Statistics. But each one represented a human life. Do-hyun felt the weight of every death. It was worth it, sir, his executive officer said quietly. Tell that to their families. Do-hyun straightened. All ships prepare to withdraw. We got what we came for. As the human fleet left the Vextar system, the planet burned below them. 3 fleets destroyed, cities damaged. Their pride shattered. The message was clear, you don't touch Earth's people, ever. On Vextar Prime, Jiho sat in his cell and counted the days. 7 so far. 7 days of interrogations, beatings, and isolation. The Vextar wanted him to confess to crimes he did not commit. They wanted him to admit that Earth was planning attacks, gathering intelligence, preparing for war. He refused every time. You are making this harder than it needs to be, the interrogator said. His name was Drex, and he enjoyed his work too much. The electric prod in his hand crackled with energy. I have nothing to confess, Jiho said through split lips. I am a diplomat. Nothing more. You are a spy, a saboteur, an enemy of the Vextar Empire. Drex moved closer. Admit it, and the pain stops. The truth doesn't change because you hurt me. The prod touched his side. Pain exploded through Jiho's body. He bit his tongue to keep from screaming, tasting blood. When Drex finally left, Jiho slumped against the wall. His body was covered in bruises and burns, but his mind remained clear. Earth would come. He did not know how or when, but he knew his people. Humans did not abandon their own. You should confess, a voice said from the shadows. Lord Thexar stepped into the dim light. Your execution is scheduled for 3 days from now. We will broadcast it across the galaxy. Make it easier on yourself. Why do you hate us so much? Jiho asked. What did humans ever do to you? You exist. Lord Thexar's eyes gleamed yellow in the darkness. For 3,000 years, the Vextar have ruled our corner of the galaxy. We are strong. We are ancient. And then humans arrive, barely able to leave their own star system, and you dare to challenge us? We voted our conscience. That's all. You embarrassed me. You made me look weak. That cannot stand. The Vextar leaned closer. In 3 days you die. Earth will protest, but they will do nothing. They are too weak, too young, too afraid. After he left, Jiho closed his eyes. You're wrong, he whispered to the empty cell. You don't know humans at all. Far above the planet, in the cold darkness of space, Earth's fleet was gathering. The mobilization had been swift and total. Every warship, every transport, every support vessel was moving toward the staging area. Admiral Do Yun stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Indomitable. It was one of the new dreadnoughts, massive and powerful, bristling with weapons the galaxy had never seen. 12 ships like it formed the core of Earth's fleet. Final count, Admiral, his tactical officer reported. 847 warships ready for combat. All systems green. And the Marines? 50,000 troops loaded and ready, sir. Commander Hana Kim reports her assault teams are prepared. Do Yun nodded. In his 30 years of service, he had never commanded an operation this large. This would be the biggest military action humanity had ever undertaken. Win or lose, nothing would be the same after today. Sir, incoming message from Minister Jiwan, the communications officer said. Jiwan's face appeared on screen. He looked tired. Admiral, the Council has responded to our demand. They refuse to intervene. They call this an internal matter between Earth and the Vextar Empire, so we're on our own. Yes, but there's something else. Jiwan paused. Several smaller species have sent private messages of support. They can't help us publicly, but they're watching. Some of them have been victims of the Vextar, too. They want to see you succeed. Tell them to watch closely, Do Yun said. We're about to show the galaxy what happens when you hurt a human. He cut the connection and turned to his crew. All ships, prepare to jump. Target coordinates, Vextar Prime. Across the fleet, 847 ships powered up their faster-than-light drives. Inside the marine transports, soldiers checked their weapons one last time. This was it. No turning back now. Commander Hana Kim walked through the rows of Marines in her transport. These were Earth's best volunteers, all of them. They knew this mission was dangerous. They knew many would not come home. But when they heard that Captain Kim had been taken, when they saw him in chains, they all stepped forward. Listen up, Hana called out. The transport fell silent. 50 faces turned toward her. In a few hours, we're dropping onto the most heavily defended planet in this sector. We're going to fight through whatever they throw at us, and we're going to bring Captain Jiho Kim home. A Marine raised her hand. Commander, is it true he's your brother? Yes, but that's not why we're doing this. Hana looked at each of them. We're doing this because he's one of us. Because when Earth sends you out into the galaxy, we promise to have your back. We promise that you're never alone. Today we keep that promise, the Marines cheered. The sound echoed through the transport, fierce and determined. Hana felt her heart swell with pride. These were her people. These were humans. In the Intelligence Division Command Center, Director Hyun coordinated with agents across the galaxy. Some were embedded in alien societies, others monitoring communications, all of them gathering information. Sir, the Vextar have detected unusual activity in their space, an analyst reported. They're moving ships to defensive positions. Let them see us coming, Hyun said. By the time they understand what's happening, it will be too late. He pulled up data on Vextar Prime's defenses. 3 fleets, each with 100 ships, planetary shields powered by reactors deep underground, thousands of automated defense platforms, ground troops numbering in the millions. On paper, it was impossible. But paper did not account for human determination. Paper did not account for rage. General Suji reviewed the tactical plans one more time. The assault would come in waves. First, the fleet would break the orbital defenses. Then the Marines would drop in pods like meteors falling from the sky. The primary target was the detention facility where Jiho was held. Casualties? She asked her staff. Estimated at 30%, General. Maybe higher. 15,000 dead or wounded minimum. Suji had seen war before. She knew those numbers meant young men and women who would never see Earth again. But she also knew what would happen if they did nothing. Every human in the galaxy would learn that Earth did not protect its people. Better to fight and die than to live as cowards. The fleet completed final preparations. Weapons were armed. Shields were raised. Soldiers prayed to whatever gods they believed in. Some wrote final letters to loved ones. Others sat in silence thinking of home. On the Indomitable's bridge, Admiral Doyun recorded a message. It would be broadcast across the galaxy the moment the attack began. To the Galactic Council and all civilized species, he said to the camera, "You have witnessed the abduction and torture of Captain Jiho Kim, Earth's representative. We petitioned for justice. You did nothing. We warned you. You ignored us." He paused, letting his anger show. "Captain Kim is one of us. We protect our own. We are coming. Stand aside or stand in our way. The choice is yours. But know this. Nothing in this galaxy will stop us from bringing our people home." The recording ended. Do-hyun took a deep breath and gave the order that would change everything. "All ships execute jump. Take us to Vextar Prime." The fleet vanished in bursts of light, disappearing from normal space. When they reappeared, they would be at the edge of the Vextar home system. And then the galaxy would see what humans could do when pushed too far. In his cell, Jiho felt something change. He could not explain it, just a feeling deep in his chest. A certainty that somewhere out there Earth was moving. His sister was coming. His people were coming. He smiled through the pain and whispered to the darkness, "I told you, you have no idea what you've done." The emergency meeting room in Geneva was silent except for the sound of breathing. On the main screen, the video played again. Captain Jiho Kim, humanity's diplomatic representative, kneeling in chains before a crowd of alien species. His face was bruised. Blood dripped from a cut above his eye. Vextar soldiers stood behind him with weapons. Fleet Admiral Do-Yun Kang watched the video for the 5th time. Each viewing made his anger burn hotter. Around the table sat the most powerful people in Earth's military and government. General Suji Han, commander of Earth's army, sat with her arms crossed. Her short gray hair and hard eyes made her look exactly like what she was. A soldier who had seen too many wars. Director Hyun Bae from Intelligence Division typed quietly on his tablet. Gathering information from agents across the galaxy. Minister Ji-won Song from Diplomatic Corps kept shaking his head, as if he could not believe what he was seeing. And there was Commander Hana Kim, Jiho's younger sister. She wore her naval uniform perfectly, but her hands gripped the edge of the table so hard her knuckles were white. She had not cried. She had not spoken. She just watched her brother on the screen, bound and beaten. "Turn it off," Do-hyun said finally. The screen went dark. The silence returned. Lieutenant Unipark and Engineer Nari Choi were recovered 12 hours ago, Director Hyun reported. They're being debriefed now. The attack was unprovoked. 20 Vextar warships against one unarmed diplomatic vessel. Dr. Taemin Lee was killed in the initial assault. And the council? Do-hyun asked. They issued a statement. Minister Ji-won pulled up the document on his tablet. His voice was bitter as he read. The Galactic Council acknowledges the incident involving Captain Kim and calls for a peaceful resolution through proper diplomatic channels. They remind all parties that council law must be respected. That's it? Suji leaned forward. They kidnap our representative, murder our people, and the council's response is a polite suggestion to talk it out? The council won't risk war with the Vextar Empire over one human, Ji-won said. They've made that clear. Then the council is useless. Hana spoke for the first time. Her voice was cold and controlled. Where is my brother being held? Director Hyun brought up a star map. A red dot marked a planet deep in Vextar space. Vextar Prime, their homeworld. Population 8 billion. 3 defensive fleets in orbit. Planetary shields. Automated defense systems. Ground-to-space weapons. It's one of the most protected worlds in the galaxy. Can we get him out? Hana asked. Silence filled the room. Everyone looked at each other. Finally, General Suji spoke. Not without a full military assault. We would need to break through their fleets, penetrate the planetary defenses, and extract him from whatever facility they're holding him in. The casualties would be enormous. How enormous? Do-hyun asked. Thousands of our people. Maybe tens of thousands. Suji pulled up tactical data. And even if we succeeded, we would be declaring war on a Galactic Council member. Earth would become a pariah. No trade, no allies, no support. We would be alone against the entire galaxy. Minister Ji-won nodded. Admiral, I understand the desire to act. Captain Kim is a good man, but we have to think about Earth's future. 6 billion people depend on our access to galactic technology, trade routes, and diplomatic relations. One life, no matter how valuable, cannot be worth risking everything. The words hung in the air like poison. Hana stood up slowly. Her chair scraped against the floor. She looked directly at Minister Ji-won. That's my brother on that screen. That's your diplomat. That's our representative to the galaxy. Her voice shook, not with fear but with rage. We sent him out there. We told him to represent humanity. And when they took him, when they beat him, when they put him in chains, your response is to do nothing. Commander Kim, please sit down, Ji-won said. No, Hana's hands became fists. Every human watching that video is thinking the same thing. If we abandon Jiho, we're telling the galaxy that human lives are worthless. We're telling our own people that when you serve Earth, when you go out into the darkness for us, we won't come for you if something goes wrong. She's right, Suji said quietly. I've been getting messages from soldiers all day. They want to know if we're really going to let this happen. Do-hyun stood and walked to the window. Geneva spread out below him, lights glittering in the evening darkness. Somewhere down there, 6 billion people were watching the news, watching Jiho in chains, waiting to see what Earth would do. Director Hyun, Do-hyun said without turning around. How many ships do we have? Total fleet strength is 847 warships, sir. That includes 12 of our new dreadnoughts. And the Vextar don't know about those dreadnoughts, do they? No, sir. We've kept our advanced weapons development secret. As far as the galaxy knows, Earth has decent ships, but nothing special. They think we're weak. Do-hyun turned to face the table. They think we're primitives playing at space travel. Lord Thexar took Jiho because he thought Earth wouldn't do anything. He thought we would accept the humiliation. What are you suggesting, Admiral? Minister Ji-won asked. I'm suggesting we show the galaxy who humans really are. Do-hyun placed his hands on the table and looked at each person. For 20 years, we've been the new species. The young ones. We've been polite. We've followed their rules. We've tried to fit into their galactic society. And where has it gotten us? Our diplomat is in chains, scheduled for execution. You're talking about invading Vextar Prime, Ji-won said. That's madness. It's justice. Suji's voice was hard. They attacked us. They murdered Taemin. They took Jiho. Council law means nothing if it doesn't protect Earth citizens. Director Hyun spoke carefully. If we mobilize the entire fleet, if we use every advantage we have, we could do it. The casualty estimates are high, but it's possible. The Vextar have never fought humans in a real war. They don't know what we're capable of. And after? Ji-won demanded. After we bring Jiho home, the Council will turn against us. Other species will see us as warmongers. Let them. Hana's voice cut through the argument. My brother voted against slavery in the Council. He stood up for a species that couldn't defend itself. And they punished him for it. If that's what the galaxy calls justice, then maybe we don't want to be part of their system. Do-hyun looked at her. She was younger than Jiho, barely in her 30s, but her eyes held the same determination he had seen in her brother. The same refusal to accept injustice, all in favor of military action to retrieve Captain Kim, Do-hyun said formally. General Suji raised her hand immediately. Director Hyun followed. Hana's hand shot up. Minister Ji-won sat frozen, then slowly, reluctantly, he raised his hand too. Unanimous, Do-hyun said. Director Hyun, begin full mobilization. I want every ship ready to move in 72 hours. General Suji, prepare the Marines. Commander Hana, you'll lead the ground assault. Sir, Hana's voice broke for just a moment. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me yet. This is going to be bloody. Do-hyun pulled up the star map again, looking at the red dot marking Vextar Prime. Minister Ji-won, send one final message to the Council. Demand Jiho's release. When they refuse, and they will refuse, we move. What should the message say? Ji-won asked. Tell them Captain Jiho Kim is a human being. He is one of us. We are coming to bring him home, and nothing in this galaxy will stop us. Do-hyun's voice was cold. Tell them we gave them a chance to do the right thing. What happens next is on them. As the meeting ended and people filed out to begin preparations, Hana stayed behind. She approached Do-hyun quietly. Admiral, can I ask you something? Of course, Commander. Are we doing this just for Jiho? Or is this about something bigger? Do-hyun considered the question. Both. Your brother deserves to come home. But this is also about showing the galaxy who we are. They think humans are weak. They think they can hurt us without consequences. We're about to teach them a lesson they'll never forget. Hana nodded. He used to tell me that humans were different from the other species. That we protected our own. That we never left anyone behind. Your brother was right. Do-hyun looked out at the stars beginning to appear in the evening sky. The galaxy is about to learn what happens when you take one of ours. They're about to learn that humans keep their promises, and our promise is simple. You hurt one of us, you answer to all of us. The alarm screamed through the ship, tearing Jiho from his sleep. Red lights flashed in his quarters as he jumped from his bed and grabbed his uniform. His fingers worked quickly on the buttons while his mind tried to understand what was happening. Captain, to the bridge. Yuna's voice came through the ship's communication system. She sounded tense. We have multiple contacts. They just appeared from nowhere. Jiho ran through the corridors. His ship was small, a diplomatic vessel with minimal weapons. It was never meant for combat. Earth had sent him out here to talk, not to fight. The bridge was chaos when he arrived. Nari was at her station, fingers flying over controls. Temyun stood behind her, his face pale. Yuna was at the weapons console, her jaw set in determination. Report, Jiho said, sliding into his captain's chair. 20 warships, Yuna said. Vextar-class destroyers. They dropped out of hyperspace right on top of us. We're surrounded, Jiho's blood ran cold. 20 ships. Against their single, unarmed diplomatic vessel. This was not a random encounter. This was planned. Hail them, he ordered. The view screen activated. Lord Thexar's reptilian face filled the display. His yellow eyes gleamed with something that might have been pleasure. Captain Kim, the Vextar said smoothly. What a surprise to find you here in neutral space. This is an unprovoked attack on an Earth diplomatic vessel, Jiho said, keeping his voice level. You are in violation of council law. Attack? Lord Thexar tilted his head. We detected suspicious activity in this sector. Pirates, perhaps. We came to investigate and found your ship. How fortunate. We both know this is no investigation. Jiho gripped the armrests of his chair. What do you want? Our scans show unauthorized technology on your vessel. Spy equipment. You are hereby charged with espionage against the Vextar Empire. You will surrender your ship for inspection. It was a lie. They both knew it. But Lord Thexar had 20 warships and Jiho had none. Captain, they're powering weapons, Yuna reported. Her hand hovered over the firing controls, though their few defensive weapons would do nothing against a Vextar fleet. Send a distress signal, Jiho ordered. All frequencies. Tell Earth what's happening here. Nari's fingers danced across her console. Signal away. Encrypted and broadcast. If anyone's listening, they'll hear it. Final warning, Captain Kim, Lord Thexar said. Surrender or be destroyed. Jiho looked at his crew. Yuna, ready to fight even though they could not win. Taemin, frightened but standing firm. Nari, working frantically to give them any advantage. Stand down from weapons, Jiho said quietly. Captain, Yuna started. That's an order, Lieutenant. Stand down. The first missile struck their engine section. The ship shook violently. Alarms wailed as systems failed. Nari shouted status reports, but Jiho barely heard them. They were firing anyway. Even in surrender, the Vextar were attacking. They're not stopping, Taemin yelled. They're trying to disable us. Another explosion rocked the ship. The lights flickered and died, replaced by emergency red illumination. Smoke filled the bridge. Hull breach in Section 4, Nari reported. Life support failing in the aft compartments. Through the smoke, Jiho saw boarding pods launching from the Vextar ships. Metal cylinders flying through space toward them like bullets. They're boarding us, Yuna said. She drew her pistol. I can hold the bridge entrance. No. Jiho stood. Yuna, Nari, get to the escape pods. That's an order. I'm not leaving you, Yuna said flatly. The ship shuddered again. Fire erupted from Taemin's console. He screamed. The flames caught his uniform, his hair. Nari tried to reach him, but another explosion threw her backward. Taman fell to the floor, burning. He tried to speak, but no words came. In seconds, he was gone. Taman! Nari's scream filled the bridge. Jiho grabbed her arm. We can't help him. We have to move. The sound of cutting torches echoed through the ship's hull. The Vextar were breaking in. Captain, please, Yuna begged. We can fight our way to the pods. All 3 of us. They have 20 ships, Lieutenant. We have 1 dying vessel and 3 people. Jiho pulled off his captain's insignia and pressed it into her hand. Take this. Tell Earth what happened here. Tell them I did my duty. Jiho, go. Now. Before they breach. The bridge doors exploded inward. Vextar soldiers poured in, covered in dark armor and carrying weapons that crackled with energy. Yuna raised her pistol, but Jiho pushed her hand down. Don't, you'll die for nothing. He raised his hands above his head. I am Captain Jiho Kim of Earth. These are members of my crew. We surrender. The lead Vextar soldier, marked with commander insignia, stepped forward. Captain Kim, you are charged with espionage and crimes against the Vextar Empire. You will be detained and tried according to our law. This is illegal, Jiho said. The council will do nothing. The commander gestured to his soldiers. Take him! Put the others in escape pods. No. Yuna struggled as soldiers grabbed her arms. You can't do this. Stand down, Yuna, Jiho said firmly. That's my final order. Stand down. Tears ran down her face, but she stopped fighting. Nari was crying too, her hands covered in Taman's blood. The soldiers dragged them away toward the escape pods. Jiho's hands were bound behind his back with metal restraints that bit into his wrists. The Vextar commander gripped his shoulder with a clawed hand. You should have stayed quiet in the council, human. You should have known your place. They dragged him through the dying ship, past Taman's body, past the burning consoles. His ship, his crew, everything was destroyed because he dared to vote his conscience. On the Vextar flagship, they threw him into a cell. The walls were metal and cold. There was no furniture, just a hard floor. Through a small window, he could see his ship floating dead in space. He watched as escape pods launched, 2 small lights disappearing into the darkness. Yuna and Nari would make it. They had to. Someone needed to tell Earth what happened here. The cell door opened. Lord Thexar entered, his scaled face expressionless. You made a mistake, Captain Kim, the ambassador said. You embarrassed me in front of the council. You made me look weak. That cannot be allowed. So you start a war over your pride? Jiho kept his voice steady despite the fear in his chest. War? Lord Thexar laughed. There will be no war. Earth is one small world with primitive ships. We are an empire of 100 systems. You will be tried, convicted, and executed. Your species will learn to be silent. You don't know humans very well, Jiho said quietly. I know you are alone. I know your council seat means nothing. I know that when we broadcast your trial and execution across the galaxy, no one will help you. Lord Thexar leaned close. You will die as an example, and Earth will learn its place. The door closed, leaving Jiho alone in the darkness. His wrists bled where the restraints cut into them. His ship was destroyed. Taman was dead, but he was still alive, and where there was life, there was hope. He thought of his sister Hana, of his parents on Earth, of the 6 billion humans who believed in him. He thought of the message he had sent days ago. If anything happens to me, he had said, well, something had happened, and now Earth would have to decide what to do about it. Captain Jiho Kim stood at the large window of the Galactic Council station and stared at the stars. 3 years. He had been here for 3 long years, and still, the alien races treated humans like children who did not belong. The station was massive, floating in empty space between star systems. It was built by species that had traveled the stars for thousands of years. Earth had only joined the galactic community 20 years ago, and everyone remembered that humans were new, too young, too dangerous. Jiho wore his Earth uniform with pride, even though the other diplomats laughed at it. The dark blue fabric with silver Earth emblems looked simple next to the glowing robes of the Luminae, or the scaled armor of the Vextar. But it was his, and it represented his home. Another wonderful day in paradise, Lieutenant Yuna Park said as she walked up beside him. She was his security chief and his closest friend on this station. Her hand never strayed far from her weapon. She trusted the aliens even less than he did. The council meeting is in an hour, Jiho said. The Vextar want to annex another world, a peaceful species called the Dolmari. They have no weapons, no army, just farmers and artists. Yuna's jaw tightened. And we're supposed to just watch? We can vote against it. That's all Earth can do. Jiho felt the weight of his position pressing down on him. He was one voice among dozens, and humanity's vote meant nothing to these ancient empires. Dr. Taemin Lee entered the observation deck carrying his datapad. The xenobiologist was always studying something, always trying to understand the aliens better. I've reviewed the Vextar proposal. It's slavery with fancy words. They want the Dolmari for labor in their mining colonies. They call it protective integration, Jiho said bitterly. The council will probably approve it. Then we make them hear us, Yuna said. We make them listen. The fourth member of their small team, engineer Nari Choi, was back on their ship. She preferred machines to politicians. Jiho could not blame her. The council chamber was circular and grand, with seats arranged in tiers based on how long a species had been part of the galactic community. Earth's seat was at the very bottom, barely above the floor. Jiho climbed to his spot and sat down, feeling dozens of alien eyes watching him. The Vextar were reptilian, covered in dark green scales with yellow eyes that showed no emotion. Their empire stretched across 100 worlds. They had been part of the council for 3,000 years. Humans had been here for barely 2 decades. Lord Thexar, the Vextar ambassador, rose to speak. His voice was smooth and cold. The Dolmari system sits in a strategic location. Its resources are valuable. The Dolmari themselves are simple creatures. They would benefit from Vextar guidance and protection. Protection. Jiho knew what that meant. The Dolmari would be stripped from their homes, forced to work in mines and factories, their culture erased. He pressed his button to speak. A light appeared above his seat, but Lord Thexar ignored it. Other ambassadors spoke, most supporting the Vextar proposal. The Lumini, crystalline beings of pure energy, said nothing. The Krell swarm, insectoid hive minds, clicked their approval. Finally, Jiho's light could not be ignored. The council speaker, a floating jellyfish-like creature, acknowledged him. The human delegation may speak, Jiho stood. All eyes turned to him. He felt small in this massive chamber, but he thought of Earth. He thought of the 6 billion humans watching, waiting to see if their voice mattered out here among the stars. The Dolmari are a sovereign people, Jiho said. His voice was steady and clear. They have not asked for protection. They have not threatened anyone. This is not integration. This is conquest. Earth votes no. Silence filled the chamber. Then Lord Thexar laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. The human speaks of sovereignty, the Vextar said, turning to face Jiho directly. Your species still fights wars among yourselves. You destroy your own planet. You have been in space for less than a century. You are children playing at politics. Heat rose in Jiho's chest, but he kept his voice calm. We know what it means to be conquered. We know what it means to have the strong crush the weak. That is why we stand against this. You stand alone, Lord Thexar said. Look around, human. No one supports you. Jiho looked. The Lumini remained silent. The Krell clicked their mandibles. The other species avoided his eyes. Lord Thexar was right. Earth stood alone. Then we stand alone, Jiho said quietly. The vote was called. 43 species voted yes. Only Earth voted no. The Dolmari system would become part of the Vextar Empire. Another free people would be enslaved. After the meeting, Jiho returned to their small quarters. Yuna, Taemin, and Nari were waiting for him. Well, Yuna asked, though she already knew from his face. We lost. They didn't care. Jiho sat down heavily. Lord Thexar made sure everyone knew that humans don't matter here. Taemin poured him a drink, something they had brought from Earth. Real whiskey, not the synthetic stuff. We did what we could. It wasn't enough, Jiho said. That night, Jiho recorded a message to send home. He did it every week, but tonight felt different. The way Lord Thexar had looked at him, the hatred in those yellow eyes, the public humiliation. To Commander Hana Kim, he said to the recording device. His sister was serving in Earth's Navy, somewhere near Mars. I hope you're doing better than me up there. The wedding is in 3 months, right? I'm sorry, I'll probably miss it. Duty calls and all that. He paused, choosing his next words carefully. If anything happens to me out here, tell Mom and Dad I tried my best. Tell them I represented Earth the way they taught me, with honor. He almost deleted the message. It sounded too final, too much like a goodbye, but something made him send it anyway. 3 days later, Jiho's ship prepared to leave the station. They were heading to a neutral territory to meet with a species that wanted to open trade with Earth. It was routine, a simple diplomatic mission. As they departed, Jiho looked back at the massive council station. Somewhere in there, Lord Thexar was plotting. Jiho had embarrassed the Vextar in front of the entire council. Species like the Vextar did not forget such things. They did not forgive. Course set for the neutral zone, Nari reported from engineering. 3 days travel. Yuna checked her weapons one more time. She always did that before they traveled. I don't like this, Captain. After what happened in the council, leaving the station feels dangerous. We have a job to do, Jiho said. But deep down, he felt it too. A sense of something wrong, something coming. The ship jumped to faster-than-light travel, and the stars stretched into lines of light. Behind them, the Galactic Council continued its business. The Dolmari homeworld was already being surrounded by Vextar warships. And in the shadows, Lord Thexar smiled his cold reptilian smile and gave orders to his fleet commanders. The human had to learn respect. They all needed to learn, one way or another,